wow, this is crazy. But that was one of the most amazing parts of the show yesterday to me.
No, I agree, that behind the scenes, and the fact that Phil Jackson said, you know what, okay, go to Vegas for 48 hours. I mean, that was crazy to me, but he knew what he needed to do to keep Rodman in his head, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, the job of a coach is individual. You're a psychiatrist. You're dealing with people on different mental levels, and you got to bring the best out of them. So he knew what he had to do with him, and then they had the bond with the Indian culture, and they was cool. You know what I mean? And that's what you need. You need your players to trust you. You need them to really believe in you and trust you. And we seen that brought out greatness in Dennis Rodman. The other part of the show that's really intriguing that I'm still waiting to figure out is what happened with Pippen with his salary, you know. And
Yeah.
I don't think the Bulls would ever get away with something like that 2020, you know, because they would have known, you know, if it's a dynasty, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Why break it up? Why, you know, and you know, these guys took a franchise that an indoor soccer team was getting bigger ratings than the Chicago Bulls. They turned it around. They're winning championships. You got to reward the guys who's on the field fighting for the championships. So, you know, so far I'm waiting to see next week to see what happens with that.
You know, I struggled with that too, especially in those first 2 episodes. But it's interesting because they advised Scottie to not sign it, right? Don't sign it.
Yeah, but you can't give somebody a contract and tell them don't sign it. Like, I mean, it's not. You're talking about a kid. You're talking about a kid grew up dirt poor. His father couldn't walk. His brother couldn't walk. He had so much on his back, so much pressure on his back. According to The Last Dance, to where he says, maybe this is my one shot. They're offering me $18 million for 7 years. To a guy who's never had no type of money like that, or he has to take care of his mother, his family, he's saying, I got to go for it. But out of respect and honor, you still should have went back on the 5th year and said, yo, Scottie, you know what? This is unreasonable. Let's sit down. Let's fix this for you so that you can feel comfortable and you can feel like you're getting paid for being the second best player in the NBA.
Yes. Or at least, well, definitely on that team. I mean, you can look and you got a last one. You got a lot of greats, Hall of Famers that were playing at that time. But at the end of the day, the one thing I didn't like is that when you stop playing and when he chose to have that surgery, and I think Michael felt so much, I think that was a tough pill to swallow. But you know what? You got to take care of you sometimes. And I think I would have done the same thing. I'm not going to lie to you. I think I would have, because it wasn't a Michael and Scottie issue. They're still brothers. They love each other. There's no Jordan without Pippen, no Pippen without Jordan. True.
It was never about them. It was about this guy, Jerry. And he was power tripping. And in a lot of ways.
So sad.
In a lot of ways, anyway, I'm not going to go into politics, but he reminds me of somebody. Like in politics. The biggest politician, he reminds me of somebody. And is their way on the highway. And brother, listen, you're a genius for putting this team together, for going to recruit Scottie, going to recruit Hodge. You're a genius for putting it together. You can't take nothing away from Jerry. But bro, you in the back office.
That was the part that was kind of.
Yeah. Your glory is winning the championships, kissing the championship, and jumping up with the guys that you helped discover. But it ain't about you.
But he couldn't take that step back. By the way, for people at home, I know that you might be frozen in some of your areas. Sorry, we're doing our best. We're just going to keep talking. I want to talk to Fat Joe real quick about this though, because you have been phenomenal during the quarantine. I know it's driving you crazy, but between your IGTV stuff. By the way, people who don't follow you should. Are we calling you Jopra now? Is that true?
Yeah. I'm Fat Joe on IG, but they're calling me Jopra. And you know, I learned, they made a meme last night, and I learned from
so good.
I learned from Eminem and 8 Mile when he made fun of himself in the rap battle. So I said, you know what? Before this gets out of hand, let me post it and laugh at it with everybody and have this Jopra moment, you know. You know, it's really it's the Fat Joe show. And I had Diddy on the other day.
That was good.
He was my biggest guest. He revealed, you know, AOC, the Congress woman, she endorsed Joe Biden on the Fat Joe show. Like, never heard nowhere else before. And then Diddy said he will battle Dr. Dre on the Fat Joe show. So so now they starting to call me Jopra. I'll take it. Oprah's the biggest of all time.
The best of all time.
You know, it's a flattery. It's flattery for you to even joke with me and call me Jopra. I have no issues with Jopra. I love Jopra.
I love Jopra too. I'm glad you put that out there. But just so people know, you had all kinds of guests besides Diddy, Dr. Oz, Mike Tyson. You had Van Jones. I saw my guy Jay Will on your show recently too.
Will's my man.
He's the best. You have so many. You're so entertaining, and I wonder sometimes how you balance it all. But you're doing it. You've been doing it for what? I mean, people know your age, 50 years, and you're still at the top. By the way, your Family Ties album that dropped when? Christmas time? A few months ago?
It dropped around Christmas time, man. That's a beautiful album. It's a classic on the streets. Me and my brother Dre of Cool and Dre Day 3000. And but what happened was I started out doing this to cheer people up because Corona is killing our people. Brown and black people and everybody in general, because this thing doesn't discriminate. And it's killing our people, and everybody's scared. I'm scared. You know, this is the most vulnerable time of our lives. Nobody likes to think of death or anything like that, but it's staring at you. And so I just get on there to inform our people and tell them the importance of social distancing and staying in the house. And if you got a neighbor who's an old lady and she can't go out, go to the supermarket, get her some groceries. You know, make sure you wash your hands. And then everything elevates from there. You know, we've had all type of doctors on and tell us how to stay safe. And then we mix it up. A little bit of politics, a little bit of sports, a little bit of rap, and a little bit of common sense. Sometimes we got to get in there. And it's crazy because I said common sense, and out of nowhere it just said on the top, Common started alive.
Nice. I mean, that's the thing. You have an ability to touch so many different people in different arenas. And you've kids, I say this to my kids all the time, like you have to kind of choose, you have to choose to be happy even in tough times. And you're putting stuff out there that is truly helping people. But I think that when this is all over with, life's going to be very different, like permanently, you know, just how we treat people, little things like sometimes you can't see if someone's smiling at you because they got a mask on. Like this, don't you think this is going to continue as far as treating people differently?
It's weird, but I do believe that this is a lesson from God. And I believe that the simplicity of things is him showing us, you know, we got carried away. We start thinking we gods on earth. We start looking toward, I'm guilty of it. I'm not pointing the finger. We're looking at material things and luxury items and fame, you know, more than even just thinking about God and thinking about family. And you know, I'm always chasing the check. I'm going from show to show to concert. And then this just said, nah, whoa, chill. Sit down with your daughter. Sit down with your wife. Sit down at home. Vibe with your family, man. Get back in tune with your family. So it stripped away all these other things we thought were important to really, really let us know what's important. And I figured out that our true currency is based on our family and our relationship with our family. That's our true currency in life.
I think that's probably, for many people, I hope, the biggest blessing to come out of this, maybe the silver lining to a really bad situation, is that we realize who is really, really, really important in our lives. We only got a couple minutes left. Here's the thing. You've been part of the Jordan family for so many years. Can you share a couple of good MJ stories? You know, clean versions of MJ stories?
I can tell you that all I have is clean versions, right? I could tell you the best story for me is I have been family with Brand Jordan crew, everybody. Reggie's my brother, Larry Miller, who's a legend with the Brand Jordan, everybody. And so I went, you know, and the same beautiful relationship with Nike, with Dawn of Nike, rest in peace, Eric, who passed away from Nike. So I've had this big relationship with Nike and Brand Jordan, and they invite me to the Jordan weekends and all that.
Yeah.
So I went and I wanted to open a sneaker store. So I went without permission and I spent hundreds of thousands fixing the store. We in the middle of the hood. We represent the brown and black community. White marble, gold chandeliers, smells, diptyque candles. People feel amazing in my store. We constantly want to give back to the community. But I went to Nike and Nike said, yo, it doesn't work like that. Like, you got to be vetted. You got to be vetted to get a store. You have to, or either grandfathered in, or I had a tremendous problem. I had a store with no sneakers, with no nothing. So I was like, oh my God, I didn't know it was like this. And meanwhile, I got to pay this huge rent in New York City, Manhattan. So then I went to a Jordan party. They had a Jordan party introducing Neymar Jr. to Brand Jordan. So it was small, tight. Kelly Rowland was performing. But out of nowhere, everybody's in there, and you hear a voice. And it goes, Big Joe, Big Joe. And everybody shuts up because that's MJ's voice.
Huh.
So MJ looks across and everybody's looking like he's going, Big Joe. He calls me Big Joe. You don't want to call me Fat Joe. I don't know why. So he says, your store. I'll be there. Grand opening. Your store. I'm coming to the grand opening.
Wow.
Immediately, everybody from Jordan, Nike, everybody ran up on me. And, oh, we'll be up there tomorrow. I think you have a store now. That's not a problem. So they showed up the next day, and that's how I got the blessing from Nike and Jordan to open my store. And for me, let alone being a fan, loving what he does for the sneaker culture, loving what he does for our community, he actually helped me feed my family and also give the people of Harlem and Washington Heights and the Bronx a place to feel like they're home. Because our kids, unfortunately, always have to go downtown to get the right sneakers and stuff like that. But finally, they have a home. It's called Up NYC in the middle of Harlem, Washington Heights. Now they have a home where they're treated incredible, where we give back. We have a sneaker. I'm going to tell you something. We had a sneaker initiative in the Bronx with the Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr., where I said, what would make a young Fat Joe? And that was a problem. What would make a young Fat Joe do good in school? So I went to 4 schools and I started a contest where I told the schools, as a class together, as a collective, the best behavior, the best attendance, the best reading, best improvement in grades, you all will win a pair of Jordan sneakers. When I tell you the class clowns became the smartest kids, the bullies never bullied no more. The grades rose. The empirical data shows their grades, their reading levels, everything rose so much. And that's what I was able to do with sneakers, to motivate these kids, to give them an incentive. And just so many stories I could run down to you about, you know, my love for Brand Jordan and Nike and everybody, you know, in the sneaker culture.
But the domino effect of that decision by you, right, to go in there and try it and to open it up, and is this, do you get overwhelmed sometimes when you see how much it's helping other kids out there who don't have much hope sometimes?
Man, that's my life.
Yeah.
Man, that's my life. That's, you know, I grew up so poor.
Yep.
I grew up so poor. I don't have pictures when I was a kid because, and I kept asking my mother, my father, my family, and they wouldn't give me the real answer. And I went to my Uncle Angel, who's a pastor, and I said, Uncle Angel, why I have no pictures? He said, do you want to know the truth? I said, why? He said, we were so poor, we didn't own a camera. So I don't have pictures of me being a kid growing up in the Bronx and stuff like that. So the fact that God has blessed me with so much, and I'm able to lend a hand to somebody, feed somebody, or give them some sneakers, or give them some motivation, or inspire them, that's been the goal of my whole life. You know, I'm not perfect. I'm not a pastor. I don't do it in the holy way, but I do it in my own way. And the people know, hey, Joe's not perfect. He has imperfections. You know, he's from the projects in the South Bronx. But what we do know is every time we need him, he's in the front line. You know, last year when Puerto Rico got hit by a hurricane, I sat on the couch and I felt hopeless or helpless.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, yo, you got to do something for your people. And along with Jay-Z and Roc Nation, we sent 4 airplanes to Puerto Rico. Each plane had 235,000 pounds of women hygienes, of Pampers, of canned foods, of waters. And that was all just what could we do to help the people. And the people in New York came together so that we collected the stuff from them as well. But, you know, we do whatever we could do to help back the community, help back the people. That's what it's all about. That's true currency.
And that's the thing, like from where it began to where it is today. I imagine, like, do you ever take a minute and sit down and maybe a private moment and reflect back? And I don't know, I guess I just hope that you can give yourself a little bit of credit along the way, not to brag, but because you made some difficult choices along the way to get here and to give back. Like every once in a while, it's okay to say, I'm proud, right? I hope you can do that.
Oh, no. I'm proud of my accomplishments. And even though my daughter thinks Travis is better than me, and, you know, so the one person I want to give me the glory, it's hard. It's my daughter. And she thinks Travis is the man. And she sleeps on her dad. And we watching documentaries and stuff on Netflix, and I pop up out of nowhere, or they'll play my song. Or yesterday we watching The Last Dance with the popcorn, and they'll play Big Pun on there. Don't want to be a player, and I'm like, yo, you see,
it's so legends.
Good. We legends. And she's like, yeah, dad. And you know,
let me talk to your daughter. Let me talk to her, because you and I are about the same age, and I grew up I was born just like a year or two after you, Joe. And my 90s are the best years of my life, and for many reasons, but the music and how you created that, I try to play it for my kids too, and my kids are about the same age. They're like, oh, mom, whatever. I'm like, no. This is the real deal stuff. The 90s hip-hop, for me, is the best.
It is, and sometimes they the glory years, but you know, sometimes we torture my daughter, because my daughter knows all the old school music, like we torture her. She knows Stephanie Mills. She knows the OJ. But we force her. She wants to hear Travis. She wants to hear all the new stuff, and we torture her. But when it comes out and she starts singing, you know, ring my bell, and I'm like, yeah, we got her. She's gonna be happy when she's older, because I learned music from my Aunt Barbara and my mother. So they would be cleaning, and whenever they had a problem, let my mom would argue with my father. She'll play "I Will Survive." Oh, now no, walk out the door, and that's where I got my musical. That's how I know music so much, is because they would play all those "I Will Survive." And even now, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was so humbled to be on this live for the love that I have for Brad Jordan and Michael Jordan and the family and Reggie and Larry, like I told you, and everybody, that I woke up super on time. And while I was shaving, I had my Bee Gees music on, my Staying Alive. I felt like John Travolta in the mirror, like I was shaving, like, and I'm like, more than a woman. I'm like, I had to get psyched. I had to get right to come up on here, because, you know, this is a dream come true for a guy like me to come from the Bronx, come from Forest Projects, and to just even be on the Jumpman 23 IG. It's a big deal for me.
You know what? You are so genuine. Reggie told me about you, and he was right times 1,000. I mean, it is so refreshing to hear how humble you are despite all your success. And I mean it. I mean it. Your music made my life in the 90s. And I told you, I got kids the same age. They'll appreciate us someday, right? Your 13-year-old daughter, she knows you're the bomb, but she just can't admit it to you yet. That's what they do at that age. She will thank you later. And if you need some help, I will gladly talk to her. And then you can talk to mine and tell them that I'm cool too, even though I'm not.
She's watching you. And let me tell you something. You're very beautiful, but you do have a Joker moment right here. You've been frozen for like a half an hour.
With my hands on my...
And you look like Jopra right now. Like, I don't know if you know that, but this is a Jopra moment.
No! I waited my whole life to talk to you live, and I'm freezing. I swear to you, I can't.
It's all love. I'll see you soon, man.
Thank you so much.
Tell everybody, put God first. God is going to get us out of this. Stay safe, please. And, you know, everybody I know that we told to stay home and they stood home, none of them got sick. It's the people that played around a little bit.
Yep.
And I want to shout out a big rest in peace to a legend, my favorite underground rapper. His name is Fred the Godson from the Bronx. He passed away last week to coronavirus. He's like a brother to me, and he was the best. He was the best lyrical underground king. So I know my brother smiling. He's like, yo, man, you shouted me out on the Jordan IG. Thank you, Joe. So, you know, rest in peace, my brother Fred the Godson.
You know what? I know he's listening, and I hope everybody out there's listening as well. Just keep staying home. We're going to get through this and be better on the other side. Joe, it's an honor. And when I come knocking on your door in Miami, don't ignore me. Let me in.
No, we got you. We got you. We got this. Listen, we got you.
Thank you so much. Go tell that little girl I said hi.
She's watching. She's tuned in.
Tell her I don't look like that crazy with my hands in my head.
Azzy, she don't normally look crazy like that with her hands in her hair. I know Azzy don't want her, but she's over there. No.